Are you hooked on social media, caffeine, binge watching, or maybe even overworking yourself? Whatever it is, it's taking more than you realize, and sometimes all you need is a reset. But how do you make it happen? Do you detox, take a break, or just hope it'll work itself out?
Everything I had gone through, I realized that the human mind, if you can put it in a very quiet, calm place and get it to calm down and not be so spastic, that you could possibly make this work out for you. How bad are you really?
What's good, y'all? Welcome back to What Makes Sense, the channel that breaks down big ideas and complicated topics into real practical steps that you can actually use. My name's Lawrence, and if you're looking for ways to level up with powerful concepts, you're in the right place. Today, I'm sharing the reset framework I use whenever I need to recharge, refocus, and reclaim my time. So let's dive in and see how this approach can help you take back control. Step 1. Identify your dopamine thief. Imagine you're Sherlock Holmes, but instead of hunting down an international criminal, you are after the sneaky culprit draining your dopamine. This is the thing that keeps you reaching for quick hits of satisfaction, only to leave you feeling more exhausted. We all have one, and trust me, this thief can be as slippery as they come. Here's the thing, whenever you feel like you need a dopamine reset, it's usually because you've got something in your life acting as a dopamine sponge, sucking it up and leaving you feeling drained. It's the kind of thing you reach for without even thinking. For me, that's my phone. It's like a mini vortex of distractions. My notes, videos, music, workouts, social media, all of it lives there. So it's way too easy to get hooked. And if I'm being honest, I don't just open my phone. I fall into it, like every time. So think about what it is for you. Maybe it's not just one thing, but a whole gang of thieves working together. It could be social media apps, endless YouTube rabbit holes, or even just the habit of checking your notifications every 5 minutes. Ask yourself, what's the thing I reach for that gives me a quick boost but leaves me drained and needing more? Whatever it is, that's your main suspect. Personally, I started noticing my phone problem when my sleep schedule started to crumble and my productivity took a nosedive. It's like looking for a cure for your phone addiction on your phone. Irony at its finest. And if you're guilty of that too, no judgment, we've all been there. In the end, step 1 is all about naming your thief. It's the first step towards reclaiming control because hey, once you know who's robbing you of your focus, you can start planning their arrest. So get real with yourself, call out your thief by name, and get ready to put them in trial. Leading us to step number 2. Arrest your dopamine thief. Once you've identified your thief, it's time to arrest it. Just like stopping a criminal, this means taking steps to limit its influence over you. The philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer said, a man can do what he wants, but not what he wants. Sometimes our desires for dopamine are beyond our conscious control, so consider ways to limit this thief's access to your dopamine. I try to shift as many activities offline as I can. For example, rather than using ChatGPT for study prep as I usually do, I use my textbook's index and make notes by hand. It takes longer, yes, but I feel less mentally drained afterwards. Step number 3, the court session exercise. Now that you've identified your dopamine thief and arrested it, it's time for a court session. So assess what this thief has been doing to you and your attention. Imagine you're the judge and your job is to figure out just how much of your daily life this thief has taken over. Here's how it works. Write down a charge sheet of 5 to 10 ways you've been using your phone or whatever the thief might be. Think of this as the activities or crimes your thief has been committing, taking away from your focus and depleting your dopamine. Each activity is like a separate offense, and now we're putting it all on paper. So for example, I'll use the cell phone example just to make this more practical. Let's say your phone charges include editing videos, taking notes, calls, listening to music, watching YouTube, ordering food, and scrolling through social media. Now to give each offense a fair sentence, look for 1 to 3 alternative methods or tools that could replace each of these uses in your day-to-day life. It's like a community service plan for each activity, giving you ways to handle each need without depending on your thief. Here's an example sentence for each activity. Editing videos, sentence to the laptop, if available, instead of the phone. Notes, assigned to an exam pad instead of tapping on your phone. Bonus, this is also a memory boost. Calls, no substitute. So it's paroled, allowed but with limits. Music, sentenced to an MP3 player, a dedicated device for music alone, so you can listen to it without all the distraction. Plus, there are no ads. YouTube, sentenced to TV or laptop, giving yourself a focus screen for longer content. Ordering food, sentenced to a little extra effort. Walk or drive to pick up your food instead of ordering online. This extra step gives you a pause to consider if it's a healthy choice. Social media, sentenced to in-person meetups. Spend quality time with friends or family, replacing scrolling with real interactions. And by reassigning these offenses to different, more intentional actions, you ease up the pressure your thief has on you. This exercise helps you see that you can meet all these needs in ways that don't feed your dopamine thief. And that gives you more control over your time and focus. In this court session, your goal is to reach a fair verdict. Each charge against the dopamine thief gets a specific, manageable solution, helping you to create healthy boundaries and reducing the hours lost to that thief. This exercise is a reality check, giving you clarity on what you've been prioritizing and putting you back in the driver's seat. Which takes us to step number 4, sweep your space. Now that you've put your dopamine thief on trial, it's time for you to take care of their hideout. Yep, I'm talking about your room, your workspace, or any space where the thief likes to operate. Think of it this way, even the best detective knows that catching a thief isn't enough. You've got to clear out the scene of the crime to keep them from sneaking back in, and maybe confiscate a thing or two. So take a look around. Is your space set up for productivity, or is it a hotspot for distractions? The messier the environment, the easier it is for your dopamine thief to lurk back in, tempting you into those old habits. Cluttered rooms, scattered devices, and leftover junk food wrappers, that's all prime estate for your thief to thrive in, making it even tougher for you to focus. Start by sweeping your space, as if you're cleaning up after a break-in. Declutter your desk, organize your room, and toss out anything that feels like a distraction. Clear out those expired snacks, old to-do lists, and random clutter, anything that's taking up physical or mental space without adding value. You're not just tidying up, you're wiping out the thief's safe zones, making it harder for them to come back and catch you off guard. To borrow a bit of wisdom from the author Marie Kondo, the objective of cleaning is not just to clean, but to feel happiness living within that environment. By clearing out the mess, you're creating an atmosphere that fuels motivation and makes it less likely that you'll fall back in your old habits. You'll be surprised how much easier it is to stay focused and productive in a clean and suitable environment. Which brings us to step 5, the productivity scale influence. Now that you've exposed the dopamine thief and cleared out their hideouts, it's time for the final step, gradually reclaiming your focus. In other words, you're going to start spending more time on the things that actually fuel you. Think of it as rewiring your brain to get addicted to the healthier habits, making sure that your thief never regains the power. Here's how it works. Start by taking the alternatives you identified in step 3 and dedicating a bit more time to them each day. Research actually backs this up. Small intentional shifts can build new habits that bring real positive change. In one famous study done by the neuroscientist at the University of London, participants who committed to small daily practices for 66 days ended up forming lasting habits that not only became easier but also replaced the less helpful behaviors. The gradual shift can actually help rewire your brain to prefer these new, healthier activities over time. So, for example, if one of your alternatives was to use an exam pad instead of your phone for notes, try spending just 10 minutes a day writing in it. If exercise was one of your alternatives for maybe gaming or whatever it might be, start with a brief walk or workout and add to it daily. These small changes act as dopamine investments, letting your brain start to associate fulfillment and satisfaction with new habits rather than your old, tempting thief. The last step is like setting a productivity scale that tips the balance in your favor of truly boosting your dopamine in meaningful ways. Over time, the thief loses its grip as your new habits strengthen. Before you know it, those once distracting devices and behaviors will have a lot less pull, leaving you more focused and productive. And with that, you're all set to beat the thief at their own game by building your new habits bit by bit, securing an environment where only the good stuff takes root. So there you have it, the full reset framework to outsmart your dopamine thief and take back control. Each step from identifying your thief to sweeping your space and scaling up positive habits is designed to help you reset in a way that's intentional and sustainable. It's not only about cutting everything out or going cold turkey. It's about small strategic ways that over time make a huge impact. Remember, you're the judge, jury, and detective here. And every move you make in this framework is about setting boundaries and building new habits that actually serve you. Studies and philosophies alike show that lasting change does not happen overnight, but with patience and consistency, you can rewrite old patterns. After all, they say a habit forms after 21 days, so don't expect it to be happening in 24 hours. As you go forward, don't feel like you need to tackle everything at once. Pick one step, one piece to address, and start from there. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. And each shift gets you closer to a healthier relationship with dopamine, one where you're in control, not your distractions. So if you found this helpful, be sure to like the video and hit that notification bell to stay in the loop for more practical, down-to-earth strategies here on What Makes Sense. 난 모를 거야.